What if I told you there are foods in your pantry right now that could outlast you? Foods that never expire? Yes, you heard that right. Some of these might even be sitting on your shelves without you realizing their incredible potential. From a natural sweetener that was found perfectly edible in ancient tombs to a simple household staple that has sparked wars throughout history, you'll want to stick around as we reveal 7 essential foods that can last a lifetime and beyond. In a world full of surprises, it's smart to be prepared for anything, whether it's a natural disaster, unexpected shortages, or just the peace of mind knowing you'll never run out of essentials. This video will teach you the foods you should always keep on hand, foods that never go bad, no matter how long they sit on your shelf. And trust me, some of these will definitely surprise you. Stay with us until the end to uncover one item that most people have in their kitchens, but have no idea it can outlast just about everything else in their pantry. Welcome to Prepper Pantry. If you love learning survival tips and tricks like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community. You won't want to miss what's coming next. 1. White rice. Before we talk about the rest of the foods on this list, let's start with one of the most underrated yet powerful staples you could stockpile: white rice. You might be surprised to learn that white rice, when stored correctly, can last indefinitely. That's right, forever. The key to white rice's longevity is its low oil content. Unlike brown rice, which can go rancid over time due to its natural oils, white rice stays fresh as long as it's kept in a cool, dry place. Airtight containers, like Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, are perfect for this job. White rice has even been used by civilizations for centuries as a long-term food source. Think of it as nature's most efficient food storage system. What's more, white rice is incredibly versatile. In emergencies, it serves as a reliable base for countless dishes. You can combine it with beans for a complete protein source, or use it with dried vegetables to create a balanced, filling meal. And in terms of calories, just 1 cup of rice can fuel your body with enough energy to last through tough times. Without a doubt, white rice is a must-have for any emergency food stash. But don't just take my word for it. Let's move on to another timeless food you'll want in your stockpile. 2. Honey. Before we talk about the modern benefits of honey, let's take a moment to appreciate its incredible history. Did you know that archaeologists discovered honey in ancient Egyptian tombs, perfectly preserved and still edible after thousands of years? That's right. Honey is the ultimate survivor of time. This sweet golden liquid owes its longevity to its unique chemical makeup. Honey has an incredibly low moisture content, which means bacteria and microorganisms simply can't grow in it. On top of that, its natural acidity further protects it from spoilage. These properties make it not just a sweetener, but one of the most remarkable food items you could stockpile. What's more fascinating is that honey doesn't just last, it can even improve over time. In fact, it might crystallize or change texture, but that's completely normal. A little heat, and it's back to its liquid form, as good as new. Unlike most foods, honey can sit on your shelf for years, even decades, without losing its sweetness or nutritional value. And here's something you might not know. Honey's benefits go beyond the kitchen. For centuries, it's been used as a natural remedy for wounds and burns due to its antibacterial properties. So, while honey may be a pantry staple, it's also a handy item for your first aid kit. 3. Salt. Before we talk about the long shelf life of salt, did you know that this everyday kitchen item was once so valuable that it sparked wars? It's true. Salt has played a critical role throughout history, not just in preserving food, but in preserving civilizations. It was even used as currency in some parts of the world. Now, here's the thing that makes salt so special when it comes to stockpiling. This mineral doesn't spoil. Whether it's sea salt, table salt, or even Himalayan salt, it stays fresh indefinitely because it's a naturally occurring compound. Salt doesn't just enhance flavor, it works by drawing moisture out of food, making it one of the oldest methods of preservation. And it's not just about seasoning. Salt is also an essential mineral for our bodies, helping regulate muscle function and balance fluids. Stored correctly in a cool, dry place, salt can last forever. Just keep it away from moisture to prevent clumping, and you'll have a reliable resource in your stockpile for years to come. 4. Dried beans. Before we talk about the versatility of dried beans, let's start with why they are a survivalist's best friend. Dried beans, unlike their canned counterparts, have an impressive shelf life. Some might even say they last indefinitely. If stored properly in a cool, dry environment, they can keep for decades without losing their value. One of the reasons beans are such an essential stockpile item is their incredible nutritional profile. High in protein, fiber, and essential vitamins, beans offer a complete source of plant-based nutrition. In times when fresh meat or other protein sources might be hard to come by, beans can be a lifesaver. Now, you might be wondering how dried beans stay edible for so long. The secret lies in their low moisture content, which prevents spoilage. Bacteria and mold simply can't thrive without moisture, making dried beans one of the most resilient foods in your pantry. You could have a stash of beans sitting there for decades, and as long as they're stored in airtight containers, they'll be just as good as the day you put them away. But the magic of beans doesn't stop at their longevity. They're incredibly versatile in the kitchen. Whether you're making soups, stews, or even homemade veggie burgers, dried beans can be transformed into a satisfying, hearty meal with just a bit of water and time. And while they may take longer to cook, they reward you with rich flavors and textures that make any dish feel wholesome and filling. What makes them even better? Beans can be paired with so many other long-lasting pantry staples like rice or pasta. You can create complete, balanced meals with just a handful of ingredients. 5. Sugar. Before we talk about the longevity of sugar, let's consider something fascinating. Sugar is one of the rare foods that, if stored properly, doesn't spoil, ever. While you might think of it as just a sweetener, sugar's ability to last indefinitely has more to do with its chemical structure than anything else. Sugar doesn't support microbial growth because it absorbs water, making it impossible for bacteria or mold to survive in it. Even if it hardens over time or forms clumps, sugar remains perfectly usable. A quick trick, if it clumps, just break it up or soften it by adding a piece of bread to the container. Its shelf life? Essentially forever. This makes sugar not only essential for sweetening your tea, but also crucial in emergency situations. It's a natural preservative used for centuries in jam making and curing meats. This is why, in times of crisis, sugar has historically been a hot commodity, not just for taste but for its preservative properties. Stored in an airtight container, away from moisture and heat, sugar will last indefinitely, ready to be used whenever you need it. 6. Pure maple syrup. Before we talk about the surprising longevity of pure maple syrup, let's take a moment to appreciate its rich history. This sweet golden liquid has been a part of human culture for centuries, originally harvested by indigenous people in North America. But what makes it so special when it comes to long-term storage? Well, here's the thing. Unlike its imitation counterparts, pure maple syrup has an incredible staying power. When sealed and stored properly, it can last indefinitely. The reason behind this lies in its high sugar content and the natural preservation qualities of syrup. Sugars are a great defense against bacterial growth, which means even after years on the shelf, your syrup will remain as good as the day it was bottled. But here's something you might not know. Once opened, things change a bit. While it's still impressively long-lasting, pure maple syrup should be transferred to the fridge to keep its quality intact for years. Even then, its resilience is remarkable compared to most other pantry items. Now, picture this. During the American Civil War, soldiers would often carry maple syrup as a source of quick energy and a morale booster during harsh conditions. It was valued not just for its taste, but also for its ability to stay fresh, despite the lack of modern refrigeration methods. It's incredible to think that a bottle in your pantry could potentially outlast a can of food. But before we move on to our next item, keep in mind that this isn't just food for emergencies. Maple syrup is a powerhouse of antioxidants and nutrients that remain stable even after years of storage. 7. Powdered milk. Before we talk about the next long-lasting food, let's consider something many of us take for granted: milk. Fresh milk spoils quickly, But what if I told you there's a version of it that can sit on your shelf for decades? Yes, we're talking about powdered milk. Powdered milk might not seem glamorous, but in an emergency, it can be a lifesaver. Stored properly in a cool, dry place, powdered milk can last up to 20 years or even longer. The secret lies in its lack of moisture, which makes it inhospitable for bacteria and mold. What makes powdered milk so versatile is its ability to step in when fresh milk is unavailable. Need it for coffee? Reconstitute it with water, and you've got a quick fix. Baking something that calls for milk? It works perfectly in recipes too. And in survival situations, the protein, calcium, and other nutrients in powdered milk become invaluable. Interestingly, powdered milk has been used in military rations and space missions because of its long shelf life and ease of transportation. It's not just a backup. It's a staple in survival strategies around the world. Now here's a little-known fact. Powdered milk can even be used to make homemade yogurt or cheese, making it more than just a beverage alternative. And there you have it, 7 essential foods to stockpile that will never expire. These items can offer peace of mind during emergencies or simply help reduce waste in your kitchen. Whether it's the eternal shelf life of white rice or the surprising longevity of honey, these foods can be your safety net when the unexpected happens. If you found this information useful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our growing community here at Prepper Pantry. Stay tuned for more tips, survival strategies, and essential knowledge to help you be prepared for anything life throws your way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.